and we're going to prepare an easy berry cobbler. This is one of those recipes for the cobbler that you're going to want to make all the time. Your family will love it, your kids will love it, and you can keep the recipe for generations and generations, and it's good any time of year. So let's begin, but first we're going to start with dessert. And that's because we always start with dessert first, and it's going to take a while to bake in an oven. So what you're going to need is you're going to need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Okay, if you wanted to use convection, you could, 325 degrees. Generally with convection baking, we turn the heat down about 25 degrees, and it shortens the time of cooking by sometimes 15%. I prefer to use convection cooking when I'm cooking like turkeys and roasts and pretty thick pieces of meat and hearty casseroles. But you can use your convection oven for this recipe. You're going to need a pan, just a regular casserole pan, maybe a 10-inch cake pan. An 11 by 13 would be too big, so something around a 9-inch, 10-inch pan would be just fine. You're going to take 1 cube of unsalted butter and you're going to melt it. Okay, and we like to use unsalted butter because you don't really need the salt in your diet, and most food naturally has the salt. The food pyramid says you need a teaspoon a day, and you get that without even adding it. Okay, so you're going to have your 1 stick of unsalted butter. Then you're going to need a mixing bowl. And in your mixing bowl, you're going to take 1 cup of milk, and I prefer whole milk, but you could use low-fat milk. But we really don't want you to use non-fat milk. We need a bit of fat in the milk. And room temperature is good. We like to bake using ingredients that are all about the same temperature. We're going to take 1 cup of sugar, 2 cups of flour, and of course you always measure flour in a dry cup measure, and we did that, but we poured it in this because it would be easier for television. And I'm just going to stir this for a minute. And then our 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You don't need to sift this, okay? Whole wheat flour wouldn't be a good substitute for this, but sometimes you can substitute it and it comes out just fine. And we're going to just stir this for a minute more. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder, okay? And this is our leavening agent. And you notice we don't have any eggs in here, but we do have milk. And your batter is going to be lumpy. You won't need a mixer for this, okay? But you do want to make sure you incorporate all of the ingredients together. And you always lift up the bottom of the pan to make sure you get all of that. So what you're going to do is you're going to pour your mixed batter, which is 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And you're going to pour it over your 1 stick of melted butter. No margarine, okay? It's not good for you. It's a hydrogenated fat, and we really don't want you having that anymore. And no oil. Has to be butter. So we're going to do that. Then you're going to take 3 cups of heaping mixed berries. You could use a cup of blueberries, a cup of raspberries, a cup of strawberries. You can buy mixed bags of fruit at Trader Joe's, some of the grocery stores, and you're just going to pour this on top. You could use fresh too, but I use heaping cups. I'm just that type of person. I always use the maximum amount I can get away with. Then you're going to need an additional 3 cups of sugar, okay? So you already have a cup in your batter, but you're going to take your 3/4 cup of sugar, and you're just going to pour it over the berries that are sitting on the batter, that the batter is over the butter, and you're going to put it in an oven, 350 degrees, for about 35 to 40 minutes. I'd like you to look at it at about 30 minutes. You don't want it jiggly, okay? It's going to be nice and golden brown on the top, but it's not going to be runny. And we're going to put this in our oven. I'll be back. And we'll set our timer for 30 minutes, just like I told you. And we'll just wait and take a look. Now this is good enough to serve for breakfast if you have some left over. And I will tell you that sometimes the blue part of the berry turns a little bit green. That's fine, just as long as you don't have it 2 weeks later and it's green, okay? That's just a chemical process that happens when you cook the berries with acid. Fresh fruit you could even use some peaches and apricots, but not dried fruit. And you'd adjust the sugar, of course, to the tartness. This is a great dessert also served with ice cream, yogurt, or a little whipping cream. And everybody loves cobbler. I like it because I always have a bag of those frozen mixed berries. It's easy, it's convenient, and I always have all of the ingredients available. So, plan on the easy berry cobbler. Make it first if you're having guests for dinner or just your family. They'll love having this for a treat. And we'll be right back where we'll start with our Moroccan rubbed lamb.